Well, good day to you all. Um, this is a video that I've been wanting to make for some time. It's just an experiment. I don't know if it's going to work at this point or not. But a while ago I saw a video where someone had successfully taken a piece of agate or chalcedony and tinted it red to make it look more like carnelian, which is, of course, a form of chalcedony or agate that is red or orange in color. And so what I've done here is I have taken some of the chalcedony that I have picked up on the river that I go down, and I've made some very high dome cabochons out of them. Not very big. Actually, I think these are probably stromatolite. You can see all kinds of swirls and stuff going on inside of there. And some of them, like this one, there's a patch of not very translucent material in there, probably more like chert. But so the method that they shown, and they weren't very explicit in explaining what they were doing, but they put their piece of chalcedony in a jar of salt water with a nail, and the iron in the nail then stained the stone a reddish tint. And that's what I thought I'd try to do with these. Now, for my occupation, I actually work with metals, and I was kind of curious, I am kind of curious whether if adding different qualities of steel will cause the tinting or the coloration to be different. So in one jar here, let me back out and show you what I've got planned. I've got 3 jars. In one jar, we're going to add just a normal nail and see how that colors, or if it colors a piece. And then this is a piece of tool steel. It's a different grade of steel. It still contains iron, but I'm not exactly sure what quality this is. It may have some cobalt. Definitely has different alloys in it than the common nail. And I'm just curious to see if there's going to be a color difference between the two. And then for the fun of it, I'm going to take a jar and I'm going to put in an old copper penny and see if we can't tint the piece a green color or green blue, whatever it comes out to be, just for the fun of it. And then I'll leave one just kind of as the control. Now, for all 4 of these, I have not taken it to a super high polish. I've just polished them to the 1200 grit, and thinking that, and I don't know, thinking that maybe high polish might act as a barrier of the tinting actually penetrating. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I thought I can do the finishing polishing later. So I'm going to put these, I think I'm actually going to hold this one out and use this one over here. But I'm going to put these into the solution. I have a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of salt, and then water in each one of these jars. And I thought the video didn't state how long. I don't know how long it'll take. I thought that I would leave them in solution for a month and see how the staining penetrates, or if it does anything at all. So I'll check back with you. For you, it'll be just in a moment. But for me, I'm going to sit and watch it and see what it does for about a month. Okay, let me interject here real quickly. I noticed that after the 2 weeks that the tool steel was tinting the solution really nicely. Looks kind of like kind of a raspberry iced tea there, but the other 2 were not coloring it at all, and I theorized that this had something to do with the fact that I was using vinegar and salt water and not just straight salt water. So I switched it out on those two to salt water and no vinegar, and I left the tool steel one as is. And so the experiment continued on with those two being just salt water and the penny and the nail. Okay, everybody, it has been entirely too long since I started this experiment. When I switched out the vinegar and salt water on these two with just salt water, that was 2 months ago, and I left this the vinegar and salt water, and it's turned from its raspberry iced tea color to a really bad root beer, frothy root beer. And the salt water has worked in that it's created colorations here. Interestingly enough, it doesn't stain the water so much as it creates this a whole bunch of floaties in there and a whole bunch of dust. And the same way with the copper and the green, it's more of a dust that's in there. So I don't know how much staining that's going to show on the piece of chalcedony. This, I'm really kind of curious if it stains it at all, and I'm assuming it's going to be a plain brown when we get it done. But let's take these out of their solution now and see if there's any clear or evident differences between the one original piece and these three. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm a little bit disappointed. I didn't expect much out of the common nail and the penny, but it doesn't look like there's even a whole lot of change in this one up here. The only change, the most noticeable change, I would say, is that they seem to have less of a polish on them now. This is the piece that I didn't polish it, or I didn't soak at all, and it has a pretty good polish on it. These look a lot duller, but it doesn't seem like any of the attempt to stain them took very well anyway. If you've watched my videos, perhaps I've shown it. If I haven't shown it, it's clear to me that microcrystalline quartz, chalcedony, can be stained, because I've cut into a lot of pieces where it looked orange or even red on the outside, and it was white or pale white on the inside, and it was just what I refer to as river stains. Obviously, the conditions are different. Maybe the minerals are different. Certainly, it probably took longer than 2 months to stain them. And the staining doesn't go very far in, but it's there, and I wasn't able to replicate it. The one interesting thing is, the one that probably worked the best is the copper staining, because while it doesn't look like anything here, if you look on the back or around the rim, there is a little bit of green that took, and I'm halfway inclined to put this back into salt water and let it sit for a year with a piece of copper and see if it won't do a better job at staining. This is just an experiment, something you do in the middle of winter when you don't have, when you're not going out rock hounding. So, I don't know. What do you think? Should I try it with different parameters, different solutions? I don't want to go out and buy some exotic chemicals. You have any thoughts on how it might happen in the wild, in the stream, but not in the house? And there again, it may just be a matter of time too. I need to leave it longer. I don't know. What do you think? It's an experiment, and we learned. I guess it's not as quick and easy as we thought it was, but I would consider it a smashing failure. What do you think? Leave a comment. Sorry to disappoint you. I was unsuccessful. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hope to have something else for you here shortly.